Welcome to Stroke Forward. My name is Marcia Moran. For the next 40 minutes or so, we are going to talk about things that stroke survivors, or any brain injury survivor, deals with. If you look at me today, you probably don't see a person who had a stroke, but I feel it. My body functions differently. Do I think I will get back to 100%? Yes, because to think differently is to admit defeat. We will talk to all sorts of people who have been there, from survivors to caretakers to doctors, nurses, therapists, friends, and family who have seen us at our weakest. They have cheered us with their victories, no matter how large or how small. How did we get here? That's what this show is going to tell you. Joyce Hoffman was formerly a consumer columnist for the Philadelphia Daily News and an author of Here's to Your Health, The Sobering Facts About Social Drinking, and most recently, The Tales of a Stroke Patient. Hoffman also was a college professor for the last 25 years and a technology and corporate trainer for the last 20 years, most recently with Cozen O'Connor Law Firm in Philadelphia. Currently, she is writing a book which is an account based on her life and is working steadily on Brain Exchange, an international program exclusively for stroke and other brain-injured survivors, with members, so far, from the US, Canada, Europe, Australia, and Africa. She is available as a public speaker on strokes. I am delighted to introduce Joyce Hoffman today. How are you doing, Joyce?
Fine.
Okay.
Fine enough.
Okay. So tell me what it was like waking up in the hospital and realizing that you were recovering from both a stroke and a coma.
Well, I was unconscious for a week,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard my son say, "You've had a stroke."
Mm-hmm.
I thought, what? Because my family didn't have stroke in their history. Nobody. So I thought, what? So I realized when I got a stroke. I got a stroke from protein S deficiency, which gives you blood clots. Protein S deficiency is not something most people know about, but it's inherited. And you can test for it. I saw my son take a test for it, and the doctor said, "What's the use? If you get it, you get it." I said, "No." It's up in the air right now, but I had protein S deficiency. They gave me blood clots, and you know what blood clots do. So, yeah. So there you have it.
Okay. So you talked about the stroke. What about the coma?
Well, I didn't. I missed the flight to helicopter flight to another hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I missed all that week and never got back that week. But I'm grateful that I'm still alive. I was supposed to die many times in that first month, but I didn't. So,
Really?
yeah, so God wanted me here for some reason. I think the reason was, if I can put an advertisement for it.
Of course you can.
Brain Exchange. Brain Exchange came about last October. And Sharon and I, a friend I made over the internet, got the idea to somehow connect brain injury survivors. So we talked about it, and we came up with the name Brain Exchange. And it's for stroke and other brain injury survivors to provide online emails to each other.
Right.
We pair each other, pair them up with age-related, and then you go from here. Whatever happens to them, happens to them. Once in a while, I got an email from somebody who said, the man wanted me to go out with him. I don't want to. I said, you don't have to. You don't have to meet him at all. So
Right.
once in a while, we get that.
Right.
For the most part, it's working beautifully.
Right. That's wonderful. So is it for people on their personal side of things, or is there a business component to this? So let me tell you. So for an example, I coach people who've had strokes. So would I address your stroke exchange for that? Or is it something that you say, no, we really just want personal information there?
So I make no money from it.
Right.
If that's
Okay.
what you're asking, I make no
Yeah.
money. Sarah makes no money. It's just something I'd like to do to
Okay.
help. I decided to dedicate the rest of my life. I'm 70. I'll be 74 in March.
No way. You
Oh
don't
no,
look
no,
it.
no! It's honest, it's true. So I decided to dedicate the rest of my life to stroke and other brain injury survivors.
Okay. Okay.
Not something I heard, something I thought of.
Right.
I said, what am I going to do? I wrote a blog. I've written it for 12 years,
Hmm.
called originally called the Tale of the Stroke Patient, and now called the Tales of the Stroke Survivor.
Okay.
I read it constantly, but one thing I decided that uh, goes far and above that, to dedicate the rest of my life to helping brain injury survivors find purpose, find inspiration, find exactly what you want to do. I
Right.
won't give up on that. So that is my thought.
And that's so important. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how about aphasia? So it looks like you have a little bit of trouble talking.
Yep, yep.
Okay. So tell
I
me
was
about,
I was a public speaker
okay.
and a trainer before, so that what was devastating to me.
Right.
Thought I'd never talk again. For 5 weeks, I didn't talk. And then one day, a nurse came in and said, "You look uncomfortable." I said, "Mm-hmm." So she brought me some pillows. Poured me some pillows. And I said, "Thank you." And that was the first word I said. The physical pathologist said, "Good for you, but most of the time you say things that, so to speak, what you want to say." And that was how I did it.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
The nurse said, come in here, everybody. She talks." So I was so proud of that. And after that, I talk more and more. So I talk, at times I talk too much, but I'm glad about that.
There's never talking too much, believe me.
There is.
So you also had the inability to swallow correctly.
Oh yeah, I failed the swallowing test initially, but the second time I passed it barely, and they gave me they sort of with a soft diet. They sort of
Okay.
with soft diet, and eventually I ate a tuna fish sandwich, the best tuna fish sandwich I ever ate. Now I'm a vegan, so I eat vegan food. So fruits and vegetables and uh, tofu and stuff like that. It makes me feel better. So all the
Okay.
people listening, I think you should become a vegan if you have a stroke or a brain injury, because that is a vegetarian at least, because that is so important to me and others. You will feel better, guaranteed. If you don't, write to me.
Okay. So talk about the physical side of things.
Well, I had trouble. I didn't always listen to the therapist, as I
Hmm.
had a therapist. I didn't often listen to the doctors. I was non-compliant for the most part in the beginning. I thought, I, I thought, this is my life. This is my life. This is the way it's going to be forever.
Right.
But slowly, I improved. Now I'm in a wheelchair because I fell many times. And the social worker said to me, uh, maybe you should be in a wheelchair. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to be in a wheelchair. So she said, maybe you wouldn't fall as much. I've never fallen since I've been in the wheelchair.
Interesting.
No, she was right.
Right.
I give her credit for that. But it's a toss up whether I fall again or whether want to be in the wheelchair forever. So my physical therapist says, you walk again. I walked in the hall with her. I walked in the hall perfectly with her. And now I've fallen so much that uh, I don't, um, I don't see the way I walked in the hall with her. She said, wait, you walked in the hall again. So wait, I have a physical therapy at home. And that is what I most want to do, walk in the hall with her again.
Yeah.
And that sounds silly to most people, but I am dead set against not doing it. Not
Right.
doing it.
Right. So, what is the most um, discouraging thing that you experienced during your hospital stay or with
I have
rehab?
a perfect answer for that. The most disturbing thing was some occupational therapists went from the acute trauma place to a nursing home
Hmm.
before I came home. And the most disturbing thing was the occupational therapist said, I tend to talk so fast, so I'll slow down. The most concerning thing the occupational therapist said, your window is closing. You only have so many months to get better. Window is closing. You only have 3 months to get better. And then the window closes. I thought that was horrible to say
Hmm.
that to somebody, but I didn't know any different. So I said, oh my God, I better get moving. I thought it was the window was closing. So I found out since then the window never closes. You
Right.
get better all the time.
Right.
And it took many years to find that out.
Right. And you really shouldn't be told that because that's old,
No,
the old way of thinking.
I know. It
Right.
was 12 years ago today
Wow.
and that I was told that. And never should be tell anybody the window was closing.
Right. Right. So, what was the most extraordinary thing that happened during rehab?
I get an answer. I have an answer for everything. The most extraordinary thing was I remember all the ones that we have 214 members now. I the most inspirational thing I can remember was I remembered all the members of Brain Exchange. I remember all of them. Becky and Liz and whatever, and Susan Fitzgerald and all of them. I that was the most extraordinary thing because I not only the member report, but I can multitask. That was the most extraordinary thing. I didn't multitask. I said I had a real stroke, and I said to myself a week ago, I'm multitasking now. I do two things at once, or three things at once.
That
Talk on my phone and talk to the British people. That was most extraordinary because I could never do that before since I had my stroke. I was master of multitasking before I had my stroke. I could do 10 things at once. I was here, and I was there, and since my stroke, I could never do it. So that is the most extraordinary thing that I could multitask and do two things at once.
congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
So, we've talked about your physical side of things. We've talked about your aphasia and ability to swallow. What about depression?
I had that. I was suicidal for 2 years
Hmm.
since my stroke, and I didn't know a way to kill myself. I didn't have access. I had little access to anything, so
Hmm.
I thought, well, I don't want to be here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
After 2 years, I went to a cousin club, and the cousin said to me, for many people there, and the cousin said to me, "You're a writer, right?" I
Mm-hmm.
said, "You used to be. I used to be." I wrote constantly. I had my own column at 16, 16, 16-year old.
Wow.
I had my. So I said, "I used to be." I said, she said, "Well, write again," and that so I started my blog. And that was the beginning of it. And then it instantly, pre-suicidal tendencies stopped. Right then, the pre-suicidal tendencies stopped, and I was on my way to living my life.
That's interesting. So, what is the difference between what you wrote before your stroke and what you're writing now?
Well, there's a change. Before my stroke, I wrote training materials for technological things. I was a technical writer at one
Mm-hmm.
time. Now I do everything for stroke.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a stroke blog. Again, the name of it is A Tale of a Stroke Survivor. I write zero choice columns, which uh, is part of the Brain Exchange site. You go to Brain Exchange site on the internet, you find Brain Exchange. Zero choice is one of them. So I answer all the questions that stroke brain injury people have, like do I have to go to the party? I don't feel like it, or I want to lose weight and I don't know how. I ate so much and I don't know how. I answer all of them. So that's gives me pressure too to answer some people thoughts on how do I do this. I like to do that because I give inspiration to so many people. I give inspiration to all.
Wow, that's amazing. So, um, what's the most interesting thing that you wrote about in Here's to Your Health, the sobering facts about social drinking?
Oh yes, I found out that uh, I found out one thing that social drinking consists of one drink of and drink of wine. You should have no more than twice a day. I found out that beer is 5 ounces a day, twice a day, and I found out that hard whiskey is 1 ounce twice a day. I never was a drinker. There was a signed project for Prevention Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I got the signed project to write about social drinking. I
Mm-hmm.
never was a drinker. I'm still not a drinker. I have
Yeah.
one glass of wine every year.
And what
That's
day
most
is and what day is that?
my Percy.
So, what other books have you written?
That the test of a stroke patient and uh, here's to your health. And I'm working on the third book right now. That is my memoir. I call it a fiction, but it's really not. I want to write about my brother and my sister-in-law, and um, I'm in the middle of it. So uh, look for it in 2024.
So, can you give me a sneak peek and say what
Sure,
it
I
is?
can.
Yeah, okay. So tell me the sneak peek.
Well, I was brought up in West Oak Lane, and my father was a workaholic. He works in the store 7 days a week and took off one day a week, one day a year, and that was a Christmas party. I'm Jewish. I'm
Okay.
Jewish, but I took off the once a year for Christmas because we had a Hanukkah party then. Talk about spending religions. We had a Hanukkah party on Christmas Day. So My brother provided the food, and we had so many people. We had between 20 and 30 people each time. She would go from holiday to holiday and prepare the food. And she was all about food. But anyway, my brother was born, and it, she, I lost one sister before me. I lost one sister, and I, I needed a sister to complain to, but I lost her. After 20 minutes, my mother gave birth. 20 minutes later, my sister died. It was one before me. That was discovered in my 30s. But it's all about um, the my mother's controlling attitude toward me, and she resented the fact that I was born because she never got over the one who died. She needed a psychologist badly, but she would never go. She said the ones who need a psychologist are weak and don't know the purpose in life. The ones who need a psychologist are strong because they recognize the fact that they need a psychologist. I went to the psychologist many times over my 74 years, and I realized that the ones who need a psychologist are strong. Do you agree?
I do. I do.
And I realized that uh, my mother was hard on me,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what the book's about. But I call it a fiction, but it's
Yeah.
really true.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry that she was hard on you. I know it's very difficult to get over a child, losing a child, and it's just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I get over it periodically. When I
Yeah.
had a good time, I get over it. Not with my mother, but when I had a good time with other people, I got over it. And when I went home, I remembered it. So every time I go home, I remember it.
Right.
It still stays with me today. I have a picture of her hanging on my wall right there. And uh, she was a diva,
Mm-hmm.
and um, she always said something about my friends. This one is ugly. This one has closed set eyes. I don't like her. You always in the physical appearances. I didn't
Right.
like that.
No.
I didn't like that.
No. Yeah. So I'm going to switch gears here. Tell me about how you got picked as a survivor or warrior in Just Say Yes to Life.
Well,
Here's the book.
I have a book here. It's on my coffee table. So I one day was what was her name? Wow. Oh, Lily's still there. Is Lily still here? And she was a member of SB.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oh, SBO. SBO. She's still a member of that SEO. SEO. I'm sorry, Keith. SEO. Uh, remember that, Lily?
Yes.
Okay, so Lily said I want to interview you, and I didn't know who she was. So I said, for what? So she said, well, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself correctly. The group was writing, and hold it up one more time, Marcia, because I want to tell everybody to buy that book. That's yeah, it's titled so well. It's titled so well. So we interviewed. I said, I want to put you in the book because you are multifaceted, and I think you have something to say. Oh, I said a lot to say. So I talking and talking, and she had my question. And she interviewed me about 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Now we're done. Now I'm done." I don't remember the name of the editor. Do
Right.
you remember the name?
She is Ellen Santasero.
Yes, 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 yes,
So,
yes. Thank you for saying
mhm.
that. Uh, um, Between her and Lily, we'll publish so many survivors in the book.
Mhm.
I'm so grateful the book was published. I didn't give it to anybody yet, but I'm going to give it to my sons.
Right.
I have two sons, age 41 and 46. Soon to be age 41 and 46 for 5 year support. So they are my source of strength here in Portland, Oregon, and they're my source of strength.
Okay.
In fact, my son is coming over. Uh, my son bought the other son's house. He came from Boston all the way here,
Wow.
and he had a handful because uh, there were three animals. One's a cat, one's a bird, and one's a dog. There were three animals and him, and he brought a friend with him to carry the animals. He couldn't go it all by himself, so I put a friend with him and paid for her to fly back to Boston. So he's here now, and he bought the other son house, and the other son moved Hood River, and you know it,
No.
Hood River.
Oh, Hood River?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So I've heard of it, but I don't know where it is.
Yes.
Other than
So it's
Oregon.
east of Oregon.
Yeah.
And 40 minutes away. The other son lives 4 minutes away. So I like them both here. And the other son comes about twice a month to see me. I talk to them frequently. I talk to both of them frequently. So I'm happy. Once I'm happy. My partner I was with for 70 years, and my husband was for the same amount of time. I was attracted to narcissists. I don't know why, but I was attracted to them. I learned to forgive myself. I wasted 35 years in them. And then when I moved here, all was done. I said, I'm free. I'm free now. And I like living by myself. People come back all the time, but I like living by myself because I do what I want. For example, yesterday, I said, I woke up at 3 in the morning. So I said, should I eat? And the other side said, there's nobody stopping you. But I can't wait. And the other side said, well, so what? As long as you don't eat too much. The other side, okay. So I ate. I had bagel and a burrito. Look at that combination. So I ate and I was satisfied. And then I went back to sleep. That's the thing I couldn't do when I was with those men.
Right. Right. So you talk about your sons. Were they your caregivers or who
Oh
else
no,
would
no.
be?
I paid into the insurance company for long-term care.
Okay.
I paid for quite a while, and then I had a stroke, and they paid me $1,500 a month.
Really?
I could put in a word for them. Shamworth is their name, starting with a G, ENWORTH. They're wonderful, and they still provide long-term care, but the other companies do not. And
Okay.
most of the other companies do not because that's too expensive for them. But like so put me $1,500 a month, about the cheapest policy there was. $1,500 a month, and that's enough for me to provide me for caregivers. So the insurance company pays, not me.
Wow, that's really nice. Okay.
And the law firm gave me my entire salary for 5 years, for 9 years. So I got both of them. The insurance company paid, and the job I had paid, and that was enough for me to live on. But now I had a serious accident. I fell and had a serious accident. And I, I, much so that I went to the hospital and they put me in in care, uh, the hospital, and they put me in a nursing home, and that was tremendously frustrating. But I learned to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going home 9 weeks, 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, and I was eventually home. And that gave me strength to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right, right. So, if there was one thing that you could say to stroke survivors and one thing that you could say to caregivers, what would it be?
Caregivers, I have an answer. Caregivers, I say, don't be a diva. I had one caregiver that was a diva.
Mm-hmm.
She, I have to explain the story because without it, there would be no purpose.
Mm-hmm.
One time in the beginning of our caregiving, we went to IKEA and they have a cafeteria there. And it was lunchtime. I said, well, would you like some lunch? I don't want to mention her name. Would you like some lunch? And so she said, oh, okay, you knew I'd pay for it. So she had a strawberry salad and I had a sandwich. Instantly, when I sat in the chair, I fell off the chair. I hurt myself.
Mm-hmm.
She kept eating her strawberry salad. And I knew at once that she was a diva, but I knew at once I couldn't find another caregiver. I learned uh, um, slowly over time that caregivers are caregivers are a dime a dozen, but to find the right caregiver takes me a while. So the right caregiver, do you mind if I mention it? Bobby, right caregiver, and a right caregiver is two givers. The right giver, the other one is Claire, and both of them are the right caregivers. They don't let me fall. They don't wash me like a hawk. When I'm in the bathroom, they said, "You're right. I need that.
Yeah.
Give me strength
Yeah.
to." I transfer by myself now, but I need them to say, "You're right." They're so wonderful as caregivers because they, they are compassionate and they are compassionate, and I love that.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, the one thing I say to stroke survivors and brain injury survivors is don't, if you can, if you can do it, don't have your caregiver be your wife or husband because they will get frustrated for the most part.
Yeah.
And um, have a caregiver who is a friend, or have a caregiver once in a while who is somebody not related to your family.
Mm-hmm.
Have a caregiver who is compassionate. Is the most important thing. I realize that most people don't have insurance paying for the caregiving,
Right.
but I have that. But I realize that also that uh, some wives or husbands are wonderful caregivers. I heard about them through my reading the blog, but some are not. They're not. Take a different caregiver as you can. Move
Right.
away if you can.
Right. Okay. So, how do people get in touch with you?
Oh, and, uh, here. See the chat?
I'm sorry, what?
They see the chat? They see the chat on Zoom?
Zoom. Oh, yes.
Okay,
Joyce Hoffman. Yeah.
okay. H C C writer at gmail.com.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Joyce. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, I spelled it wrong. Thank God for the backspace key. Okay. Okay, here it is. People get in touch with me for anything, for Dear Joyce or anything, is by this address,
So it's
hgwriter@gmail.com.
okay.
I look forward to hearing
I'm
from
sorry.
anybody. I look forward to hearing from anybody who's listening. hgwriter@gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you very much. So
Oh,
again,
thank you for the interview, Marcia. Thank
thank
you
you.
for giving me the time to express myself.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for listening to Stroke Forward Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like it on Facebook, LinkedIn, or anywhere else you heard it. If you want a copy of Just Say Yes to Life, please order it from Amazon.com. The proceeds go to Stroke Awareness Oregon, an amazing nonprofit that educates about stroke causes, prevention, and treatment options. The book, Stroke Forward, is also available on Amazon.com. Join us next time when Alicia Goodwin, who had 2 freak strokes from spontaneous bilateral vertebral artery dissection, tells us what it is like to have a stroke without injury or trauma to cause it.